Hello, my name is AJ. I'm your Hypoxix coach for today, and we have level 5.5 chair teaser. This is a level 5 movement and a level 5 breathography, meaning we're adding in our 6 beat breath retentions at the conclusion of each of our engaged exhalations. Breath retentions with core, so amazing for a variety of reasons. I'm giving you a little pep talk here because we're adding in those longer breath retentions at the conclusion of each engaged exhale. When we retain our breath at the end of the engaged exhale, we're increasing the endurance, the stamina of those deep core muscles that we've activated at the end of that engaged exhale, that forced exhale that increases activity of those internal obliques or transversus abdominis, all those muscles that loosen our ab ribbon. And note on loosening the ab ribbon, make sure you can feel the difference between tensing and loosening the ab ribbon in your engaged exhale. If you can't, you might need to loosen it just a tiny bit for these core exercises because of the natural thickening of the waist circumference when we do an isolated core exercise. Or you may need to reduce the resistance on the abdominals. The exercise might be too challenging, and it's important that you can integrate your deep core into your superficial core in all these exercises for this particular technique. Now, if you're working with a Hypoxix coach and they've suggested a variation on the exercise, always follow that because that's there to optimize your program. Let's begin. Let's put the ball in between the inner thighs here. And this is as much a posture exercise as it is a core exercise. So interlace your fingers together, pull them apart. So if the fingers are slippery, they pull apart like that. And then put your hands behind your head. Posture here. We're pushing our head back into Hypoxix head stance. We're pushing back and also getting lifted up. We're increasing the height in our spine as we go through the exercise. Now, additionally, we're finding a far point to stare at. We always work the visual system in every exercise. For today, we're going to find that far point to stare at. It's a fixed point gaze, working the muscles of our eyeballs. The shape of our eye changes when we stare at a far point, and we're also pulling our head back away from that point, so optimizing head posture even more. Now, that ball that's between the inner thighs, it's there to increase engagement of the inner thighs and your deep abdominals, but it's also there for tactile feedback. If the ball starts moving around too much, that means you've lost pelvic stability, and you want to check yourself and see how you can improve that pelvic stability to maintain stillness in your pelvis, and also that ball will reflect that over time. Okay, so we have our posture, now our pelvis. We want to make sure we're neutral. Make sure the sit bone weight is equal between the two. That's the power of the tactile feedback of the chair. So equally plant yourself, and then make sure you're not forward. Make sure you're not back on the tailbone. Make sure you're not forward toward the pubic bone, but you're about halfway between those 2 points, optimizing your nice neutral spine here, okay? So then, when we lean back, I want you to make sure that when you go to your engaged exhale and you're straightening your legs on this one, I know it's an advanced core exercise, make sure that you can feel the abdominals when you go into your engaged exhale. If you can't and you overfeel your low back and hip flexors, then you know that you are placing too much resistance on your torso. And again, you just need to take the resistance down a little bit. You know, connect to your breath, connect to your ab ribbon, because many times that will resolve that issue of only feeling low back and hip flexors. And you should feel the hip flexors even when you integrate the abs. This is a hip flexor strengthening exercise, just like an ab strengthening exercise. Very advanced. So let's hit it. Interlace the fingers, pull them apart, head back, take it up from our posture, zip up, inhale, and hiss, 2, 3, 4, 5, inhale 1, inhale 2, and blow. Loosen the ribbon, you're keeping it loose for 6, 5, 4, head back, 3, 2, 1, and inhale, inhale. Loosen the ribbon, you're holding 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and inhale, inhale. Loosen the ribbon, keep it loose for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and a 1. Whew. Really nice work. You're finished.